from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
Good evening, bringing you the news from Sri Lanka and across the world. It's your national news broadcast on Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. My name is Siobhan Pereira.
A very good evening, and I'm Kenza Farooq. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Highest welcome for the Vietnamese president. 5 memoranda of understanding between the two countries. Commission to scrutinize coal imports commence initial investigations. A foreign head of state addresses the parliament after 11 years. Former Chief Executive Officer of Sri Lankan Airlines Kapila Chandrasena passes away at his residence. Notices issued again to former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Fierce fighting between US and Iranian navies. A project to direct school children towards sports.
Now in your top local news for tonight, the President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, To Lam, arrived in the island last night.
The official ceremony to welcome him was held this morning at the Presidential Secretariat premises, presided over by President Andra Kumara Dissanayake. The Vietnamese President and the diplomatic delegation were received at the Katunaik International Airport by Prime Minister Dr. Harini Amarasuriya, Minister Dr. Dhammika Pattabandi, Deputy Minister Arun Hemachandra and several others were also present at this occasion. Several senior ministers of the Vietnamese government and the Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam are also participating in this state visit along with the President. To Lam, the President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, arrived in the country following an invitation extended by President Andra Kumara Dissanayake during his state visit to Vietnam in 2025. The purpose of the visit is to celebrate the 55th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Vietnam. It is significant that a Vietnamese president is visiting the country after approximately 15 years. The Vietnamese president was warmly welcomed by President Andra Kumara Dissanayake. To Lam was accorded a guard of honor with full state honors and a gun salute.
Forces Guard of Honor is in order and ready for your inspection.
Subsequently, the Vietnamese president inspected the Tri-Forces Guard of Honor. After the two presidents received the VVIP salute, the introduction of the state delegates of both countries took place. The two heads of state also posed for an official photograph.
One of the highest honors accorded to a visiting head of state, reflecting the friendship, respect and diplomatic ties.
ගෞරවනීය සභානායකයනි
Parliamentary Affairs of Sri Lanka and General Hon Luang Tam Quang, Minister of Public Security of Vietnam, to exchange the memorandum.
Following the official state ceremony, 5 memorandums of understanding signed between the two countries were exchanged. An MOU was entered into regarding police training and scientific research cooperation between the Police Training Institute of Sri Lanka and the People's Police Academy of Vietnam. An MOU on Science and Technology Cooperation was also exchanged between the Ministry of Science and Technology of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Science and Technology of Vietnam. An MOU was signed for the development of religious sectors, student welfare and promotion and protection of religious beliefs and customs. This was between the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Ethnic and Religious Affairs of Vietnam. An MOU regarding cultural cooperation was exchanged between the Ministry of Buddhism and Religious Cultural Affairs of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of Vietnam. A consignment of 100 metric tons of fertilizer donated by the Vietnamese government to Sri Lanka was officially presented symbolically to the Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture, D.P. Wickramasinghe. Subsequently, the MOU for cooperation in the field of information and communication between the Ministry of Health and Mass Media of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism of Vietnam was exchanged. Following the exchange of agreements, the presidents of the two countries participated in a joint press conference. President Andrew Kumar Dissanayake stated that he and the Vietnamese president held extensive productive bilateral discussions. He mentioned that both countries consider this a timely opportunity to strengthen economic cooperation between them. The president noted that they have set targets to increase bilateral trade up to $1 billion by the year 2030. He expressed his gratitude to the Vietnamese president for including a business delegation of 50 representatives in his visit, which demonstrated strong confidence in Sri Lanka's investment environment and the strategic potential. Furthermore, President Dissanayake invited Vietnamese entrepreneurs to explore investment and business opportunities in Sri Lanka's priority sectors, including tourism and manufacturing. Vietnamese President To Lam stated on behalf of the Vietnamese government they were thankful to the people and the President of Sri Lanka. He extended his heartfelt greetings to the President for the warm welcome afforded and hospitality shown towards them. Furthermore, he congratulated the President on the achievements he had attained and the economic progression of the country. He noted that it is evident that the President had improved the living standards of the people and expressed his confidence forward. Vietnamese President To Lam paid floral tributes to Ho Chi Minh statue established at the Colombo Public Library premises this morning. The President also took time to view art creations by school students. Subsequently, the Vietnamese President, who participated in the occasion to mark the commencement of the expansion of the Ho Chi Minh Corner located at the Colombo Public Library, viewed the historical photographs displayed there. For the project of renovating and expanding the premises, Nguyen Hue Nia, member of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam and Auditor General of the State Audit Office of Vietnam, made a financial grant of $50,000 to the Mayor of Colombo, Rai Kali Balthazar. Minister of Environment Dr. Dhammika Pattabandi, Colombo Mayor Rai Kali Balthazar and several others were present at this occasion.
Now moving on, Vietnamese President To Lam arrived at the Parliament of Sri Lanka today. He was received with the highest state honours accorded to a head of a state by the Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka, Dr. Jagat Wickramasinghe. President To Lam serves as both the President of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam and the General Secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Vietnam, subsequently entered the parliamentary chamber. Following his arrival, he addressed the parliament. It is significant that this is the first time in 11 years that a foreign head of state has addressed the Sri Lankan parliament.
Parallel to the 55th anniversary celebration between Vietnam and Sri Lanka, the bilateral relations
සහෝදරත්වයට පාදක කරගෙන මේ විශ්වයට ආමන්ත්‍රණය නම් රාජ්‍යයකට දැන් අපි ඒ සමග සම්බන්ධ
ඔබතුමාව ශ්‍රී ලංකා පාර්ලිමේන්තුව වෙත ඉතා උණුසුම් ලෙස පිළිගැනීමට ලැබීම මට මහත් සතුටකි. ප්‍රථමයෙන්ම
At the outset, I warmly welcome His Excellency President Tholam, members of his delegation to the Parliament of Sri Lanka, to commemorate the 55th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between Sri Lanka and Vietnam, and undertaking this state visit. Although our Sri Lanka-Vietnam diplomatic relations were established over 5 decades ago, the historical ties between our peoples date back many centuries. Countries have stood by each other during challenging times. Sri Lanka established diplomatic relations with Vietnam amidst considerable external pressures, and in turn, Vietnam has consistently supported Sri Lanka at multilateral fora. The people of Sri Lanka deeply appreciate this solidarity. Let me recall that President Ho Chi Minh, the founder of modern Vietnam, visited Sri Lanka on 3 occasions, reflecting the high value Vietnam has long placed on its ties with Sri Lanka. Today, Sri Lanka and Vietnam enjoy strong and multifaceted bilateral relations spanning politics, trade and investment, education, technology, agriculture, culture, and people-to-people exchanges. Sri Lanka remains firmly committed to further strengthening these ties for the mutual benefit of our two peoples.
We are extremely proud and honored to have you visiting Sri Lanka, addressing this noble and august assembly. Vietnam as a country has shown that challenges, despair, conflict can be transformed into growth, poverty reduction, peace and prosperity. Vietnam is a classic example, a country that has a single-minded approach and a determination to ensure that challenges are overcome, that setbacks are transformed into victories. The path-breaking reforms known as Doi Moi propelled your country into one of the fastest growing economies.
In more local news, the Recycling Centre of Construction and Concrete Waste was opened today at the Industrial Park, Ekala, led by Minister Anura Karunatilaka, ministers and parliamentarians. Now it has been constructed under the Clean Sri Lanka National Programme. The project has been established at the pre-assembling yard premises of the State Engineering Corporation under the Ministry of Housing, Construction and Water Supply. Construction industry is responsible for the creation of 40% of the entire waste in the world and 25% of carbon emission. 300 tons of waste is being collected daily from the Western Province alone. A risk of floods and soil and water pollution had occurred due to the improper disposal of this waste. Under the new project, those waste will be converted into valuable raw minerals and also using technology. It will be minimizing the exhaustion of natural resources and will also help in reducing construction costs considerably. The centre being implemented with the full mediation of the State Engineering Corporation has been allocated with machinery worth 350 million rupees. It includes a recycling factory with a capacity of 200 metric tons per hour, a modern laboratory and an administrative building. A sum of 200 million rupees has been set aside for this project under the Clean Sri Lanka programme. Plans are afoot to expand research activities with the help of faculties of engineering of state universities in the future. Minister Dr. Susil Ranasinghe, ministers and parliamentarians, officials of the Clean Sri Lanka Secretariat Office and large numbers of others joined the occasion.
The Special Presidential Commission appointed on investigating the import of coal to Sri Lanka from 2009 to 16th of April 2016 has commenced its preliminary investigations. The Commission's requests the public and relevant institutions to submit their information regarding this matter before the 22nd of this month. The Commission was appointed to investigate on various irregularities and illegal activities alleged to have occurred in importing coal and matters relating to generating power using coal during the said period. The Commission was appointed by the President Anura Kumar Dissanayake. It has been established at the 5th floor Magistrates Court Complex, Adhikarana Piyace, Sanchi Arachi Garden, Colombo 12.
75 million rupees out of 135 million rupees allocated from the 2025 budget for the payment of employees' salaries of the Sri Lanka Foundation Institute was returned to the Treasury yesterday. Now, the concerned cheque was handed over to the Secretary to the Treasury, Dr. Harshana Surya Peruma, by Chairman of Sri Lanka Foundation Institute, Professor Sita Bandara. In a unique feature, this amount allocated from the budget has been returned to the Treasury as a recurrent expenditure for the first time in the history of Sri Lanka Foundation Institute. The overall income of the institute has been recorded as 416 million rupees, while the expenditure stood at 340 million rupees. Accordingly, the remaining amount of 75 million rupees was returned to the Treasury during the Management Board meeting held on the 26th of March, according to Chairman Sita Bandara.
Now in other news, the former Chief Executive Officer of Sri Lankan Airlines, Kapila Chandrasena, has passed away at his residence. Police media spokesperson, Assistant Superintendent of Police, ASP F.U. Woodler, states that investigations regarding the incident are underway. Police state that the body of Kapila Chandrasena was found at his residence, number 37 Pedris Road, Korpiti. Government analyst and Colombo Fort Magistrate Pasan Amarasinghe visited the premises. Then the body of the deceased was taken to the Judicial Medical Officer. Kapila Chandrasena was previously remanded in connection with an incident involving the acceptance of bribes during the purchase of Airbus aircraft for Sri Lankan Airlines and was recently released on bail. However, a warrant had been issued for his arrest to be produced before court for violating bail conditions.
2 lion cubs born at the National Zoological Gardens in Devala are now open for public view. According to the authorities of the Zoological Gardens, they were born in the month of December last year. These 2 lion cubs were born of the lion couple named Nebo and Penny at the National Zoological Gardens. The general public will be able to watch these lion cubs daily from 10 a.m. to 11:30 in the morning. With these 2 lion cubs at the National Zoological Gardens and the lions at Ridigama Safari Zoological Park in Hambantota, there are 39 lions altogether, according to the authorities of the zoo. And now we're going to a short break. More local news on the other side. Stay tuned.
Get a Visa Infinite credit card with unlimited airport lounge access. Open a Ceylon Personal foreign currency account today.
Live from the National News Studio, Sri Lanka.
And we're back with more local news. Handing over of new computer equipment for 100 registrar officials of the Divisional Secretariat offices was conducted at the Department of Registrar General yesterday.
This has been conducted under one registration of digitalization of services of the Department of Registrar General. These computer systems have been handed over by the United Nations Development Programme and the World Health Organization with the objective of making duties more efficient. Permanent representative of the United Nations Development Programme, Asusa Kubota, Sri Lankan representative of the World Health Organization, Dr. Rajiv Pandav, and secretaries to the ministries and additional district registrars joined the occasion.
Former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was ordered by the Supreme Court today to be issued notice again. This is in relation to a fundamental rights petition seeking an order to recover funds from former ministers and members of parliament who received compensation for property damages incurred during the Aragale protest period. The petition was called today before the Supreme Court bench comprising Justices Ashla Vengapulli, Menaka Vijayasundara. After considering the facts presented, the bench informed the counsel appearing for the petitioner to issue notice again to the former president, who is named as a respondent. The petition was filed by environmental lawyer Dr. Ravindranath Dabare. The High Court Colombo fixed May 14th to deliver the order regarding the parliamentary or the preliminary objections raised in the case filed against Yoshitha Rajapaksa under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This was announced when the case was taken up today before Colombo High Court Judge Udesh Ranatunga. The Colombo High Court today ordered a case against former Minister Uday Kamampilla to be called on the 11th of June. The case was filed over the alleged fraudulent use of company shares belonging to an Australian businessman by creating a forged power of attorney. The case was heard today before the Colombo High Court Judge Nadi Aparna Suandurugoda, where the defendant Uday Kamampilla provided testimony. The trial concerning the disappearance of journalist Pragit Teknaligoda was taken up today before the Special High Court establishment at Vijayarama Mawatha. The case was heard before a trial at bar consisting of Justices Nalin Hevavasam, Lakmali Hevavasam and Nayana Senivratna. Although 2 witnesses had been summoned for today, only 1 appeared.
Now in other news, according to Chief Epidemiologist of the Ministry of the Health, Dr. Palita Karna Prema, meningitis virus disease is being reported around the medical office of Health Office Kotapula and Deniaya Hospital. These days, he revealed this during a media briefing held in order to raise awareness in this regard. Chief Epidemiologist of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Palita Karna Prema, has said that 47 patients have been reported so far. He mentioned that all these patients receive treatment from the Deniaya-based hospital. Explaining that almost all of them are children under the age of 14 or 15, Dr. Palita Karna Prema pointed out that the disease has spread through the use of contaminated water or food. He requested the people in the area to consult a qualified doctor if symptoms such as high fever, headache and vomiting are present, especially among children.
Now, the Bandaragama police have arrested 7 persons from Valmilla area who had heroin and ice narcotics worth 1.5 million rupees in their possession. They were taken into custody in a raid conducted by the Bandaragama police. Police have also taken into custody 50 grams of heroin, 25 grams of ice narcotics, material used to packing narcotics, a motor car and 4 mobile phones. Police said a major ally of a leading drug smuggler, Dubai Sudha, is also among the arrestees. They had packing narcotics during the time of the police raid and the suspects were produced before the Panadura Magistrates Court today.
Nilanuwan musical show in order to appreciate more than 6 decades of service to the field of arts and music by veteran singer Devananda Vaidyasekara was held yesterday at the Ananda Samarkund studio of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The show has been organized by the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, where a commemorative plaque offering tributes appreciating the service of Devananda Vaidyasekara to the field of arts was also awarded. Veterans in the field of arts intellectuals praised the service of the veteran singer. Siyavasaka Sihananda, compiled for 100 years of service of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, was also dedicated to the public. A copy of the book was also presented to Devananda Vaidyasekara. Ministers Dr. Nalinda Jayathisan, Hinadini Sunil Senagi, Chairman of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation, Professor Udita Gayashan Gunasekara, and a host of others attended the occasion.
The Colombo Stock Exchange ended today's trading positively. Now the all-share price index closed at 23,063.98 after rising by 66.12 points, which represents a 0.29 percentile change. The S&P SL20 index closed at 6,319.24, up by 26.98 points and 0.43%. Total market capitalization at the close of trading stood at 8.338 trillion rupees. Market turnover for the day amounted to 4.110 billion rupees, with 273.73 million shares trading hands.
Now, the Department of Meteorology says that the prevailing rainy weather condition is expected during the coming few days, also due to the turbulence in the lower atmosphere around Sri Lanka. Meanwhile, a large number of houses are inundated in Bilateral area since the Kirindioya is in spate. The water level of Kirindioya has risen sharply with incessant rains around catchment areas of Kirindioya and Bilateral. Munaragala District Disaster Management Unit requests people living on both sides of Kirindioya to be on alert. More than 30 houses have been inundated in Bilateral area. Deputy Director of Disaster Management Unit of Munaragala District says that 3 sluice gates of Alikota Ara Reservoir has been opened 2 feet each. Now in more weather news, due to the lower level atmospheric disturbance in the vicinity of Sri Lanka, the prevailing showery condition over the island is expected to continue during the next few days. Showers or thunder showers will occur at most places of the island. Heavy falls above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in western, Sabaragamuwa, central, Uva, northwestern provinces and in Galle and Matra districts. Showers are likely in the western, southern and northern provinces during the morning too. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in central, Sabaragamuwa and Uva provinces and in Kurunegala district during the early hours of the morning.
Earn high interest rates for your dollars. Open a Ceylon personal foreign currency account today.
And we're back with the foreign news. A severe clash between the American and Iranian navies is being reported near the Strait of Hormuz.
Now, Iran says that it launched missile and drone attacks on 3 U.S. Navy warships and that the vessels sustained damage in those strikes. The United States Central Command has strongly rejected those reports, stating that no damage was caused to their 3 ships. The U.S. emphasized that many Iranian military centers were severely damaged by the retaliatory strikes they launched. The U.S. Central Command says that they launched retaliatory strikes in self-defense after the Iranian military attacked their guided missile destroyers while they were sailing through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran utilized missiles, drones and small boats for the attack. President Trump stated on social media that Iranian vessels sustained heavy damage during these strikes. Meanwhile, the Iranian military claims that the attacks launched by the U.S. Navy near the Strait of Hormuz damaged an Iranian oil tanker and another vessel located near the port of Fujairah in the United Arab Emirates. The Fars news agency reported that sounds of explosions were also heard from Bandar Abbas, Qasem Island and areas near the Iranian capital Tehran. And now finally in your sports news, the government has initiated a project to direct school children throughout the island towards sports.
Now it commenced today, led by Minister of Sports Sunil Kumar Gamage at the Department of Sports Development. Development of school playgrounds and distribution of sports equipment is being implemented under this project. A sum of 450 million rupees has been earmarked for this purpose. In the first stage, sports equipment worth 25 million rupees was distributed among 40 schools. The minister gave away sports equipment for 3 schools, signifying the occasion, sports equipment in cricket, rugby, netball and many others. Well, that was a look at the news here at Sri Lanka Rupavahini Corporation. I'm Siobhan Pereira together with Kenza Farooq. Wish you a pleasant evening and a great week ahead.
Good night.